Yes, guys, what's happening? And welcome back to the channel. And I don't really know what to say. It's somehow finished at Stamford Bridge, Chelsea 2, Tottenham 2, in a game that the Blues completely dominated from start to finish. You know, it was a really, really good performance. A masterclass from Thomas Tuchel, tucking in Reece James to right centre-back. Loftus-Cheek was superb in the right wing-back hybrid role. Mount playing in behind Havertz, and James was causing problems in that position he was picking up. But somehow, every time Anthony Taylor is in charge of a Chelsea game, there's problems. Two shocking bits of officiating, absolutely inexcusable. And for the best league in the world, the best footballing product, we have got the worst officials by a country mile. I mean, the first one, okay, a little bit debatable because it's so far back from the goal, and we'll get into it. Obviously, Jorginho pissing about with the ball in the box is an absolute joke. You should not be doing that. But the second one is... it is unbelievable. Like it's a hair pull from Romero on Cucurella in the box. Taylor's looking right at it, and you've got Mike Dean on VAR, who is a very experienced referee, and yet Taylor looking straight at it and Dean looking over it on VAR, and they come to the conclusion that that's absolutely fine. It's an absolute disgrace. And for Tottenham, a small tin pot club, you know, celebrating with the fans after you got a 2-2 draw, which you didn't even deserve. Absolutely pathetic. And Tuchel and Conte probably could be on the undercard of the AJ Usyk fight next week as well. Things were getting very spicy on the touchline there. But George, what was a very, very good performance from the Blues, it almost feels like a defeat this, doesn't it? Because for how well we played, it's the same old failings. We keep letting teams back in when we're dominating the match. And I mean, can you quite believe what's happened today?
No, mate. I literally said to you before we came on air that it feels like the Barca repeat, going out of the Champions League semi-final. I mean, it is embarrassing. We've been cheated of 3 points. There's no other way around it. You know, I can almost, for argument's sake, I can forgive the Havertz one. There's a part of
back,
so far back. Jorginho pissing about, and he does. You know, if you look at the slow replay, he does get a fraction of the ball. I can almost forgive that one, even though I'd probably say it's a foul. But the other one, I mean, how? Apparently, so what they're saying is because it wasn't in play, they can't give it as a foul. But then it's an off the ball incident, so it's a red card. I mean, that is the only other conclusion. I just cannot see how. I could even understand if he's just missed it and it's not gone to VAR. But the fact it went to VAR and they still said that was acceptable.
What are they doing in there? What are they doing in that VAR room? How does Mike Dean sit there, stupid, bold prick, looking at the pictures of a clear hair? Mate, you can have a 5-year-old kid look at that, and it's a foul.
It's just embarrassing, mate.
It's embarrassing.
And you know what? It takes away what was an excellent performance at the Bridge. It was excellent. We were superb from you know. I know there were moments of the games where we possibly overplayed it, but we were fantastic. I mean, one of the best games I've seen at Stamford Bridge in terms of how we applied ourselves, how we put the pressure on. You know, and a fantastic spectacle for the neutrals and for a derby. I mean, it's promoted the Premier League brilliantly, but I mean, we've been robbed of 3 points. There's no other way to describe it. There's no other way.
Mate, how disappointing is it that once again, despite obviously not being a great result for us given the circumstances, that once again, after a great game of football, you know, a great advert for the Premier League, that once again, everyone's going to be talking about the officiating. I mean, something's got to happen here, you know. Players get dropped for poor form. They've got to come out straight after games and explain themselves, face up to the music, you know. Managers, etc., getting sent off, they get fined, they have to go straight out and speak. Yet referees can drop a disaster class like that every single week and absolutely nothing happens to them. I mean, what do we do about this? Because this is ridiculous now.
They need to be sanctioned just like everyone else. I mean, if they surely get evaluated by a board or something to say your performance as an official. Someone looking at that has got to be like, well, he's not allowed to referee a match for a couple of games because it's a disgrace, mate. Like, he doesn't have to come out and speak. When he goes home tonight and he watches the replay and sees all that, how can he sit there and say, yeah, we did a good job today. Yeah, we'll referee next weekend. I mean, the stakes are just too high for those people to piss about and give decisions like that. I mean, it effectively cost us a huge win today, a huge win. I mean, it feels like a loss because, Spurs, again, embarrassing, did fuck all game. Kane, yes, had a really good opportunity, but other than that, created hardly got
Absolutely
out of their
nothing.
half. And yeah, okay, if you're away from home, you just take whatever you're given, and if you snatch it, you snatch it, and it probably does feel like a win for them because it's a big last minute goal. But the fact of the matter is, the only person who scored there is Anthony Taylor. There's
Mate,
no
look
other.
at look at this picture here. That's the still of the hairpool, and it's right in front of Taylor. And look at it.
I don't get it,
even.
and the fact again, if he missed it because he's watching the ball or watching other things going on, that's fine. But then when I heard that it went to VAR, I was like, well, I'm convinced he's going to get sent off.
He's right in front of it. Look in the bottom left-hand corner of that photo. That's his arm there. He's looking straight at it.
I would just love an explanation as to what, if anyone on tomorrow morning on Sky Sports News when they get
just anyone from the Premier League, the FA, just something. It's just unacceptable.
Well, they usually have that thing. Who do they have that little where they
Dermot
go to the referees?
Dermot Gallagher.
Yeah, if Dermot Gallagher comes on and he backs this and he says, oh, actually, I see why they didn't give that. It's not in place. I'm going to go ballistic. I'm going to go absolutely ballistic. It's pathetic that they defend this sort of performance. It is pathetic. And I'm so disappointed because Tuchel, like you said at the beginning of the show, got it absolutely spot on, and we dominated the game, absolutely dominated it. Finally scored 2 goals in a game, which is brilliant.
Yeah,
the pressing was excellent. The speed of play, the intensity, the physicality of it, matching them, making good decisions in every area of the pitch, pretty much. I think both goals are, obviously not defending the corner anyway. The first goal's just, very poor from Chelsea perspective.
Well, it's poor from Jorginho. It's just pathetic.
Yeah, but I think he just got too cocky because we were playing too well, and he's made a mistake there. And but you can forgive that because we got back in it. We 2-1. We were back in the game, and there's just absolutely no way that Spurs should have walked away with a point today. Just no chance.
I mean, it's a real shame that we're talking in such a negative way, given the fact that we actually played really well today. I mean, compared to last week against Everton, this was chalk and cheese. This was probably one of the best performances we've had at Stamford Bridge, or one of our best performances in general for a long time now. I mean, mate, you were saying to me on WhatsApp, this could be one of our best performances since that Juventus game last season in the Champions League when we won 4-0. We were that good today. We were really, really good today. All right, a little bit of a shaky start. Jorginho giving away possession a couple of times. Koulibaly looking a little bit shaky, but after the first 10, 15 minutes, we just grew into the game, and we were top class. We were really good. Everyone had a good game today. Havertz, despite his poor finishing, was actually okay today. Put himself about a little bit. I couldn't really say a bad word about any of these players. But George, let's go back to the start, mate, before we obviously get into it a bit more. Team sheet comes out. It's what I wanted to see. Reece James tucking in at right centre back. We've seen it before. Tuchel doing that. We saw it last season against Leicester, where he tucks Reece James in there to match up to Jamie Vardy. And Reece James today completely nullified Son. How impressed were you with that kind of tactical switch? And just how good was Reece James today, keeping Son quiet? Because Son, a joint Golden Boot winner last season, one of the informed attackers in the league in world football, he had absolutely nothing today. And that's largely down to Reece James and that tactical masterstroke from Tuchel.
Yeah, and he got man of the match, and rightly so. I think it was, could have tossed up between a few players for that, but he was outstanding today. Made Song look like a very bang average player. Obviously got the goal as well. Fantastic pace going forward, strength, some fantastic deliveries into the box. I mean, that one for Havertz that he missed was a superb ball into the box. He's just got everything, hasn't he? He's physical, delivery, timing, energy. He's fantastic, and you were right, mate. In the kind of pre-match building up to it, with the lineup, and I was a bit more reserved. I thought that perhaps with a clean sheet away at Everton, I thought he'd probably keep it the same at the back, because for me, being a bit of a someone who just keeps by their a clean sheet away from home, I probably wouldn't have changed it. But fair play again, and again that shows Tuchel's quality of management, and thought Loftus Cheek again. Talking about Reece James, Loftus Cheek. Superb, and I can't again. I can't really blame defensive errors for the goals. It's a strange one. Like, there's people saying that Koulibaly, loses, kind of floats around for the second one, and he's on the line and doesn't really do anything
But
in
it
there.
comes off James, really. It comes off
Yeah,
like James's thigh.
it's very difficult, and in the first one, I don't. That's not a defensive
It was
issue. That's just
Jorginho's fault
Jorginho
at the end of the day.
pissing around. Yeah, so I don't blame the defense for that. So I thought they were solid, mate. I thought Koulibaly looked decent. I mean,
What a
Cucurella
finish!
the other side,
What a finish by Koulibaly, by the way.
Oh,
I mean, phenomenal technique on the volley to cut across the ball, the swerve on it. I mean, it's something that the previous number 26 JT would have been proud of. I mean, we've got a real player on our hands here, haven't we? I mean, just how good do you think this guy can be? Because last week he played really well, but I think the pace of the league probably surprised him a little bit. A little bit slow to get up to speed today, but my God, what a player. The finish, the way he brings the ball out, he's so calm on the ball. Mate, this is an upgrade on Rudiger. It is for me. I know it's only 2 games, but the guy oozes class.
I'm not there yet with the upgrade on Rudiger, but I'm sure. I mean, he's got every potential to be. And yeah, you're right. He had a bit of a shaky start. I think he was probably a bit set back by how quick the Premier League is in such an intense game. A London derby. You could see he was taking the extra touches, not sure, spooning balls up into the air. But once he got going, I mean, he was superb, and he's such a physical specimen as well. Like even just that extra body in the box to cause problems. But then people just almost do him a disservice by just saying, oh, he's physical and he's athletic, because what about that?
Great
finish?
On the ball.
I mean, yeah, great on the ball, and the finish. I mean, you'd struggle to get some strikers that could do that. I mean,
well, mate, no strikers are doing that. I mean, our defenders showing our forwards how to finish.
I mean, you try and hit that on the volley from a corner first time. 9 times out of 10, that's spooning well over into the shed upper. I mean, it's an unbelievable finish, and what a way to make your home debut is all I can say. And I think all of the players would just be so gutted that everyone deserved a big pat on the back and a big London derby win, and unfortunately, it just the only criticism you can have, like you said, is just that we didn't kill the game when we dominated. We should have been 2-3 up, and that should have been it. And again, Havertz missing that golden opportunity. Look back at that now.
You cannot miss chances like that. You just can't.
Mason Mount had a few good ones.
Sterling, that one flips over.
Yeah. So you look back.
We had opportunities today. We did have opportunities, but mate, obviously we were phenomenal today. The press was great particularly in that first half. We played really well. That's obviously the blueprint going forward. But do you think that, potentially a lot of today's performance was down to the fact it was the first home game of the season, and it was against Spurs, and it's a London derby? I mean, then obviously there's a bit more spice. You're going to be more up for it. Do you think we need that level of performance, like week in, week out? Do you think that was kind of mainly down to the fact it was at home, first game of the season there, and it was against Spurs? Do you think that's something we can actually continue on a fairly consistent basis going forwards? Because for me, we've got the capabilities to do it, but we only see a performance like this every so often. That's my big concern, is that we don't see this anywhere near enough.
Yeah, but isn't this the issue, that Chelsea have played their best game at home for some time? We still haven't won the game. I mean,
we still didn't win at the end of the day.
Regardless of how it's happened, and we know that obviously Anthony Taylor's pretty much got a Spurs shirt on today. We still haven't won the game, and that is Chelsea's biggest problem, and it has been for a couple of years. We've done an absolute tactical masterclass. We've played our best football for some time. We've actually scored more than a goal, and yet we still haven't won the game. And I agree. I think first game of the season at home, intensity is going to be up, particularly London. It's a perfect way to almost start your season right from the off. Get that fire in your belly going. But very hard to sustain. I think if we were playing someone like a Nottingham Forest at home or Southampton, it wouldn't have been the same. But we probably would have blitzed it. I mean, if we played like that, today against any of the bottom half sides, we would have blitzed it. But it's just. Oh, mate, I'm just honestly, I threw my phone across the floor. I was so angry. I'm so angry, and
it's so annoying. It's just so annoying because, we couldn't have done anything more. I don't think we could have actually played any better if we tried. We actually scored a couple of goals. Yes, we still missed opportunities, but everyone to a man today was superb, in their own way. I don't think there was one person you look at on the pitch and thought, oh God, they were terrible today. Everyone to a man was class. Everyone did their jobs. The new signings were phenomenal again. And, we're just robbed by officials. It's just leaves a really sour taste in the mouth. It really does. But obviously we get that first goal, mate. I guess the only negative of the first half is the fact that we just don't get a second. I mean, it's such a familiar story. Like, we say it so much last season, particularly at home. When we're in the ascendancy and dominating games like we were today, we go 2-0 up. That game's finished. It's so frustrating that we can't seem to kill games off.
Well, we don't have that cutting edge, unfortunately. I mean, even Sterling, it's different. He's not going to get the same amount of goals at Chelsea as does at City for the same reasons that we say. The pitch is a bit tighter. Haven't got the supply line behind. You got someone like Kevin De Bruyne in behind, pinging balls through. Yes, he didn't have a one-on-one opportunity today. He'd get that countless times at City because we just don't have that player who, looks to zip the ball forward early, break the lines. We just don't have that. It's all in front of facing the defenders or a low block. It's all the same stuff. And yeah, he's more creative and created great opportunities for other players in and around the box, but it's not enough. Havertz, yes, loved the aggression. He really bought into the derby, which is great. Quite liked the energy actually from Havertz today, but again,
when it really mattered, the one opportunity he had,
yeah,
you have to score that. It's inexcusable.
And I would say Harry Kane would score that as well, but he missed a sitter as well.
He missed a sitter as well, yeah.
But you can't miss that. You just cannot miss it. Those are the fine margins at the top level. And, for Chelsea, just seems to be a bad omen that's continued for months, not just games, months. I mean, you could see Tuchel's reaction when that ball came across and he missed it. I mean, he's done everything you can coaching-wise, and that's where the players have got to take some responsibility and think, if you get presented with that chance, you've got to take it. And in this level, no matter how it's turned out and how we think about the equaliser, they have got it because we didn't take the chances.
Yeah,
they stayed in the game. So
yeah, and as poor as they were in that first half, and Spurs were absolutely awful.
Couldn't get out their half.
They couldn't get out their half. We absolutely dominated them. But when a game's 1-0, doesn't matter how bad you've played. You are at 1-0. You are always in the game. And, we come out second half, we start reasonably well. Okay, as we said at the top of the show, mate, you can debate that foul. Is it a foul? But it's a long way. It's still a long way back from the goal. It's not like it was the foul and then they kicked it straight in the goal. There was still quite a long way to go. But, George, as a top-level Premier League footballer in Jorginho, someone that's won, the European Championships, the Champions League, come third in the Ballon d'Or, what is he doing in his own box trying to take players on? What is he doing? It's just a complete moment of madness from him. And it's cost us big time today. Like, what is he doing? What do you think his thought process is there? Like, why would you ever decide to do that decision when you're like 3-on-1 in your own box?
I put it down to two things, possibly. Arrogance, for one, because he was playing really well.
He had a really good game today.
We were saying in our own little private chat, he looks good today. Like, zipping it around really quick. He wasn't taking too many touches. Every first touch was class, shifting the ball left to right, really, cleaning up there. So maybe he just felt like he was on top of the world and couldn't make a mistake. The other one is, Chelsea do like to play it out from the back, and maybe that's been something that's coached, that, we're trying to play our way out of trouble.
But there's common sense, though.
Yeah,
when you're in certain situations, just get rid.
And that's something I've never understood, really, when I'm watching Premier League football sometimes.
Yeah, sorry, say that again, mate. You're just frozen. Yeah, I mean, I don't understand it either. Like, when you're, yes, there'll be certain principles of play, etc. Sorry, mate, you just froze for a sec. Then say that again.
Teams, they seem to just never.
Mate, do you want to go back out and come in? Because you're kind of. Oh no, I think we're back in the room now. Yeah, mate. Sorry, say that again. Oh no, he'll come back in a sec. Yeah, it's just utter madness from Jorginho. It really is. Yes, I understand. He's playing well. You think you've got a bit of confidence. Oh, let's take the ball on. I can get past a few players here, but. Even if your principles are to play out from the back, there's a time and a place. When you're inside your own box and you've got 2 or 3 Spurs players around you, don't try and take them on because the odds are stacked against you, and you're going to give the ball away. And ultimately, it's going to prove very costly. And that's exactly what happened. He loses the ball. It comes to Højbjerg on the edge of the box, and he puts a strike into that bottom corner. And at 1-1, you're just thinking, like, how on earth has this happened? Again, it's an individual mistake. We haven't defended badly today. Yes, we've let 2 goals in, but it's not been a bad defensive performance. We've played well today. at the back, and just been undone by two unfortunate situations, really, which we can't necessarily do an awful lot about. But yeah, I mean, Jorginho gives it away in the box, comes out to Højbjerg, and he buries the shot. I mean, is Richarlison in the line of the goalkeeper? I don't really know what the rules are. He is in an offside position, but I don't know if he's kind of influencing the line of sight, or is he influencing the game? That's kind of, I think that's sort of debatable, really, on that front. But in terms of what Jorginho was doing, yeah, it was a big blotch on what was a really good performance from him, and he was hooked pretty quickly after that for Azpilicueta, and we switched Reece James back out to right wing back, and switched the system up. But yeah, it's poor from Jorginho. But at 1-1, you think, right, they're back in the game. They don't deserve it. But we did have warning signs. We had warning signs when Harry Kane went through, and a striker of his quality, he should be scoring. He should be scoring goals like that. He really should be. So we were lucky there, and then obviously we weren't so lucky with when Jorginho obviously gives it away in the box, and Højbjerg slots it away. But at 2-1, at 1-1, we're still playing really well. There's still plenty of time. Azpilicueta comes on for Jorginho. Ruben moves into midfield. Reece James moves back out to right wing back, and we start playing really well again. Creating decent chances. There was a great chance for Raheem Sterling where Loftus-Cheek, who was phenomenal today, surging forward from right wing back in that hybrid role. He gets into the box. I personally feel that he probably should be shooting from his position, but he finds Raheem Sterling, who takes a couple of players on, and he should be putting one in the top corner, but it just doesn't quite happen, and it goes over. But I mean, yeah, it's just so frustrating, really, really frustrating, because it just, to play so well and to get undone by a horrific individual mistake, and then some dreadful goalkeeping, some dreadful officiating is just not what you want. George will be back on in a sec. Just needs to connect his device. But yeah, I mean, it's disappointing, but even then we still get ahead in the game, and it's great play from Sterling. He plays the ball to Reece James, and he finishes with aplomb like he always does. We know what a top footballer Reece James is, what a top player is. He finds himself in the box, and he shows those forwards how to finish. And once again, the defenders through Koulibaly and Reece James showing the attackers how to finish. Sterling should have put one away today. Mount had a decent opportunity. Kai Havertz should have scored. It's just the same. It's the same problem. It's the same problem. But I mean, the goal's phenomenal. And then you think from there, right, we're gonna see this out, and yet we still don't see it out. It's just so frustrating. It's really, really frustrating. When we get that 2-1, you think, right, let's see the game out. A few more changes happen. Conor Gallagher comes on for Kante, who again was superb today, but just injured again. And this is again another issue which we'll obviously get into a little bit later on. Is that Gallagher coming on fine, but Kante injured again. Him and Kovacic are just made of glass, and it looks like Kante looked like a hamstring problem or something like that, because these guys are, these midfield players, despite how good they are, they seem to be made of glass, and it's just not going well. It really isn't going well with that. It just isn't. But RD, big up. Let me just get to a couple of things in the chat before moving on to the end bit. Yeah, loads of people fuming about Taylor. We got robbed. Yep. What's this one here from Play? We played so well today, though I think we still need that final end product and finishing. Agreed. Good, but we're completely robbed, and I don't think we deserved to draw. We were supposed to. Yeah, we were robbed today, but at the end of the day, however well we played, we still didn't win the game. It's really annoying. Yeah, Damien Duff, agree with that, bro. Piece of shit. Taylor and Mike Dean, yeah, absolute disgrace. Positives for sure. Attacking patterns, visible style of play. Yeah, we need to see that on a more regular basis. We still. All right, here we go. All right, George, mate, you're back in the room. Good stuff. Good stuff.
back in the room.
Sorry, in the room. Yeah, mate. No, mate. It's all good, mate. We're just going on about what were you saying, mate, before it cut off, about what you don't understand about Premier League players when they're in the box sometimes, like about Jorginho?
Oh, just clearing the ball, mate. I don't understand why they just don't sometimes use their, logical head and just click it out basically when you're in trouble. You can't be playing like that and doing Cruyff turns inside your own 18-yard box, can you?
No, it's pathetic. But I mean, at 1-1, it's frustrating, isn't it, mate? But at the same time, though, we get ourselves back. We get ourselves back ahead in the game. And another really well worked goal. Obviously, Aspie comes on for Jorginho shortly after that. Reece James moves back out to right wing back. Loftus-Cheek moves into midfield, and Sterling good from him actually, mate, because we thought he was going to shoot, but he plays it nicely out to Reece James, and he finishes with a plum. I mean, Reece James, a phenomenal game today and a great finish. But George, at 2-1, what are you thinking, mate? You're thinking surely we're going to see this out now, because it wasn't even that long left. What was about 15 minutes or so left, and you're thinking, oh, we're just going to see this out now. I mean, I just don't know. I just don't know what happened. But I mean, mate, what were your thoughts on that last bit? Just not seeing the game out.
I thought job done, because I thought if anything was not going to happen, it was going to be at 1-1, where we've given away a goal, that poor individual error in the box, and the players having a go at the referee for the decision. And I thought, that's it now, we're not going to win the game. And then when we did go ahead, I thought that is job done, because we've overcome the disappointment of the refereeing decision and the fact of the individual error in the box. And I thought, with 15 to go, Chelsea very rarely let that slip at home. And that was that we got rewarded that goal from the great work we did throughout the whole game with the press. Koulibaly winging the ball back high up the pitch, which was great. And then Kante playing a nice ball into Sterling. I was absolutely screaming at the top of my lungs for Sterling to pass that ball one more. Could see Reece James in the corner of my screen. And I mean, if that was Havertz, he probably wouldn't have. And then James, just power in the right place at the right time, slots it, composed, and Stamford Bridge goes nuts. And you think from there against Spurs,
mate, what did you make of the scenes of Tuchel storming down the touchline? It was class.
Loved it,
mate. Everyone goes on about the Pep and Klopp rivalry. Mate, Tuchel and Conte's eclipsed it in 90 minutes. Despite the fact the result went against us today. Mate, I love that sort of needle on the touchline, the fighting on the benches, mate. It's class. I'm not encouraging violence or anything, but just a bit of needle, and then that handshake at the end, and it kicks off again, and both gaffers sent off. It's what you want to see. You want to see people fired up. But I mean, obviously people in the chat as well absolutely fuming about the Taylor thing. I mean, we've talked about it at the top of the show, but I mean, George, do you think there's any way we can defend the corner better, or it's not really?
Look, bottom line is you should never concede from a set piece, really, particularly that late on. But I don't think there's much we can do. He gets a little glance to it. Everyone's trying to jump to win the ball. Gets the slice of glance. Does take a little deflection off Reece James as well. The analysis from Jamie Carragher after the game was that Koulibaly just isn't picking up a man or helping Silva, and then ends up kind of in the no man's land and halfway on the goal line and halfway up, trying to win a header. So I'm not sure, but really, the corner shouldn't even been given. I mean, we've been through it. I mean, it's just, I can't, honestly, it's still going through my head that I just cannot understand how they've checked it and they just think, right, that we'll just have another corner then.
They just think it's fine, because even if you give the corner, it's an off the ball incident, as you said earlier. So surely, that's
a red card. That is a red card.
It's blatant. It's blatant violent conduct.
This is brilliant though on the screen. I mean, I personally absolutely love it. And I know we've had some classic ones at the Bridge. We had Mourinho when he was at United, and
we've had some big bust ups.
We've had Wenger. That was classic with Mourinho. But this is brilliant. I mean,
to be fair though, he's spot on. And look, he's gonna get fined by the FA for these comments.
Yeah.
But when it's raw emotion after a game, you should be able to say what you want. And Tuchel saying exactly what the fans thinking and what the players know as well.
He's speaking the truth. Not
only the fans, the players know what is going on. Anthony Taylor, what is going on, they know it. Maybe it would be better if he did not referee Chelsea games again. I cannot coach our next game, but the referee can whistle the next game. Mate, exactly what you're saying. Tuchel won't be on the touchline for the next game, yet Taylor can just crack on and go and ref another game. It's outrageous.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I honestly do think that referees now, I mean, I know they get assessed, by someone above them, and they look at all their games, but they've got to have sanctions as well, because how can you get away? We're not talking about grassroots Sunday League football where we all go home afterwards and it's it's only football. It's not only football for these guys.
This is millions of pounds.
millions of pounds. I mean, if Chelsea don't qualify for the Champions League because of a
this
result
is a
like
good
that,
point here, mate. As you were about to say, the 2 point drop could be what it could be the difference between top four. I mean, I know it's early days, but you could look back at the season and you miss out on something by 2 points, and that
to a
costs you
rival who we
millions.
played today, by the way.
Yeah.
Acceptable, mate. And I think as embarrassing as it is, because they would get so much stick from fans if it came out that that Anthony Taylor was actually banned from a game or a couple of games because of poor refereeing.
He shouldn't be allowed to referee Chelsea.
Who cares? He should have to go away and probably learn the trade again at a lower level. Really, I'm sorry, but that's the facts. Like, you wouldn't get that in any other workplace, would you? You wouldn't perform terribly consistently and then
still get picked.
Yeah, it's nonsense.
But mate, it's like being the worst performer at work and getting a pay rate and getting a bonus every month.
Yeah, it's laughable. And I mean, to be honest, I quite liked the way that he let a lot of stuff go today. That's my one positive, I'll say.
They do try and let the game flow, but
that's not to do with him. That's to do with what they've been told above. And I think that was fine. But I mean, it was. Yeah, the Havertz one, even if I'm being devil's advocate, I can forgive that one. I can just say, yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. We made too many mistakes after the initial foul. I still think it's a foul, but whatever. But the other one,
I mean, the thing is, mate, like, I'm not defending Taylor, but just referees in general. You're not going to see everything. It happens in a split second.
Yeah.
Is what's more even inexcusable is the fact that there's people sitting watching multiple replays of it. And still coming to the wrong conclusion. That for me is actually more unforgivable than getting it wrong on the pitch.
Hey, we were watching it on Sky Sports. I know we get, surely we get less replays or the latter replays than the VAR get, because that gets obviously turned.
They get loads of angles and stuff. Yeah,
I think Sky Sports get whatever's being fed to the VAR, so they can then report it back to whoever's watching the game. Because they're allowed to, I don't know if they're allowed to listen to the conversations or not. But
yeah, the commentators, the commentary team get to listen into the VAR communication between the ref and the VAR, but the fans don't hear anything.
But again, this is a great point that they've actually, and I mean, if this isn't done now after this game, I don't know when it will be done. But they were seriously considering only a couple of weeks ago that the fans should be allowed to hear the VAR and the conversation with the referee. And I would have loved to have heard that one. I mean,
mate, I would love to have heard Mike Dean's explanation. Anthony, handful of hair, he pulls him to the ground. It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, I mean, it is laughable.
Seriously.
And it puts our game to shame, because you look at rugby and how well that is managed from an officiating perspective, and then you've got football, which is the biggest watched, the biggest sport in the world, and it's managed by children. It's ridiculous.
I mean, even that though, mate, it just seems to be the Premier League. No other top leagues in Europe seem to have this furore around VAR every week. Serie A doesn't, Bundesliga doesn't, French league doesn't, like German league doesn't. It's only the Premier League that seems to have VAR issues. Now, either we're implementing it wrong, which could be part of the reason, and the main reason is we have got the worst level of officials we have ever had. It's Sunday league officials. It's embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing. But I mean, it's so disappointing. I love that photo of Tuchel. That is absolutely class. That's like a boxing weigh-in. It's so good.
You're right. You were right about the undercard, mate. I think I'd love to see that.
It's so good. But I mean, mate, let's get into some player ratings, mate. I mean, it feels like a bit of it feels like a bit of an anti-climax, given that we've not actually won. But mate, let's get into it. Before we get into it, guys, if you're tuning in now, please do smash the likes. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm as well. So please smash the like so it spreads it. More people can tune in. But most importantly, guys, please also click the subscribe button as well. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please smash that subscribe button now. We'd really appreciate it, and it helps the channel grow. So yeah, please do subscribe as well, people. Let me just get to a couple of things in the chat very briefly. We'll get to this in a sec, Lee. Does an established frontman finish the jigsaw? I mean, we thought it would finish the jigsaw last season, and it didn't. So I'm not too sure on that one. VAR official needs sacking. Yeah, agreed.
Completely
agreed. Listen, we were great, much better than we probably all suspected. We're in contention. No, we're doing well. And we'll get into Kante as well, because it's another big problem in the midfield. Him and Kovacic, for how good they are, they're made of glass, always injured. But mate, let's get into it. Player ratings then. Guys in the chat, get involved as well. Let us know what your thoughts are. I mean, Edouard Mendy today, George, despite the fact that he let in 2 goals, couldn't really do anything about either of them. And what he did have to do, he actually did it well. So I mean, it's quite hard to give him a rating because he wasn't actually poor today, was he?
No, commanded his box well. I thought closed some really decent opportunities down. It was one before
one from Son. That was one from Son.
That was a good one. Yeah. There was another one though. I think where they didn't give an offside, and I think it was maybe Sessegnon who was through, clear as day in the first half, and he saved it. Can't remember who it was, but yeah, he made an excellent close down there. Great save towards the end of the game where he tipped it over the bar, which was great reaction save as well. It's so hard because for a goalkeeper who hasn't had to do anything for pretty much the whole game and then 2 go in, hard. But I'd probably give him a 7 or 8 because I can't be harsh on him. I don't think he did anything wrong.
I think a 7's fair. I think we'll go with a 7. I think the fact we've not won the game.
2 goals conceded. We can't.
2 goals, even though he's not his fault. I mean, apparently Timo was at the game watching. I mean, he was at Leipzig, playing for Leipzig on the weekend. Apparently Timo was watching.
Scored as well. Good luck to him.
Scored as well. I mean, there's a poor keeping error, but he did score. So fair play to him. George, moving on to the back 3. Let's start with Reece James. Yeah. I mean, at right centre back, he was phenomenal. And right when he moved to right wing back, he scored a great finish. This was the Reece James that we all know we've got at Chelsea. I mean, last week against Everton was poor. This week, it was phenomenal. I mean, the finish was great. The way that he just completely marks Son out the game. He's got that tactical side in his game as well. That one where he just pulls Son down on the halfway line, takes the booking, stops the counter-attack. Mate, it's like a bit of a dirty streak in him. This is the sort of shit that we love. I mean, how good was Reece James today? I thought it was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, world class, mate. We're blessed to have him.
And he didn't cost a penny.
Yeah, who would have thought it that, people who say, oh, only John Terry's come through or whatever, it's a load of nonsense. I mean, we're so lucky to have him, and hopefully he stays for Chelsea for the rest of his career. I mean, future captain in the making, the way he performed today. I mean, to make someone as good as Son look bang average is by no means easy.
Mate, wouldn't even know Son was on the pitch today. Wouldn't even know.
Yeah.
And he got subbed off as well, obviously, Son. So you wouldn't even know.
And, as we said, one of the best performances as a collective team today, and yet he was the shining star yet again. So I'd have to give him some. But, again, it's hard to go anywhere close to like 9s or 10s because of the conceded goals. But
I think an 8.5.
8.5. I was going to go 8.5. Yeah, I think.
Let's go with 8.5. I mean, he was phenomenal today. Let's go with Thiago Silva then, mate. Obviously, last week he was absolutely class. Mate, I thought again today he was decent. Looked controlled on the ball. He was calm. He was reassured. Again, none of the goals his fault. But again, I suppose you have to hold back a little bit, I guess, on the defensive ratings. If you have let 2 goals in, I suppose you can't give too high. But I mean, I thought Silva was good again today. And for me, mate, he's the best centre back in the Premier League. I don't even think it's a debate.
Probably is now, yeah. I think Van Dijk's gone off the boil slightly. And that's probably due to the fact that Liverpool are struggling to motivate themselves after such a fantastic season last season. But yeah, I mean, Silva by far. I mean, we were saying in the private chats, isn't it? It's almost embarrassing being, 30 years of age and you see someone like that at 37 who can deal with the heat, be so composed, fit as anything. And then, I'm sweating just to go and grab a cup of tea or something. It's embarrassing,
it's mad, isn't it?
I mean, he is phenomenal. And again, it is difficult to give them high ratings, but honestly, I think we can, just because none of the goals are their fault in this scenario. It's a weird one.
Yeah.
So again, I think 8, maybe 8.
Yeah. I think an 8 as well. Or maybe a 7.5 because Koulibaly. It's got to be.
Oh, go on, 7.5 and then Koulibaly 8, I'd say. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, 7.5. I mean, mate, let's move on to the big man. Home debut, the number 26 on his back. JT would be proud. I mean, as we touched on it, a little bit of a shaky start, giving the ball away a couple of times in the first sort of opening 5-10 minutes, but he settled down. The finish for the goal is absolutely phenomenal. It is. It's world class. It is world class. The way he slices across it, he watches it. Yes, okay, he's left in a lot of space. But he's still to finish like that as a centre back is ridiculous. And I thought it was good today. He was physical, made some great tackles. Was a threat from set pieces. A really good performance from him, mate. How impressed were you?
So impressed. I mean, they complement each other, those three, so well, don't they? They're all very
Yeah.
physical. Thiago Silva's probably the best reader of the game. Then you've got Koulibaly with his his intensity and his physicality. Then you've got James, who's got the more attacking package. And it's going to be a hell of. And I think I'm not saying.
Imagine throwing Fofana into the mix as well.
Well, I think that's going to happen. I mean, did you see the goodbye that perhaps?
I think that's going to take place this week, hopefully.
Yeah. I think he made it very clear going to the fans on his own. But I mean, this you're right, mate. I think it's got I think it will be eventually an upgrade on Rudiger. I can't say that yet because I think Rudiger, did win the Champions League with Chelsea, was outstanding. But he is a specimen that we've obviously rated for years, and for whatever reason, Napoli have kind of outpriced him out of getting him to the club. But oh God, if he can go on for as long as Thiago Silva, we hope, then we've got a hell of a player there. He's fantastic.
Man, what a player! I mean, George, if Fofana does come in, I don't think it's outrageous to say that we could have the best group of defenders in world football. I don't even think that's outright. I don't even think that's ridiculous.
No, it's not. I think it's spot on there. That's not biased at all. I think.
No.
Cucurella as not even a first choice, really.
Yeah, he was phenomenal today.
Yeah, he was electric. So quick, so aggressive, so forward thinking, which I love. Yeah, I can't compliment them enough. And again, you're moving on to Loftus-Cheek now. I mean,
mate, Loftus-Cheek, by the way. Talk about an example to young players. This is a guy that, has come through the academy. He's waited for his chance patiently. He got his chance under Surrey. He was playing some of the best football of his career. He went to the World Cup in 2018, and then he has a terrible Achilles injury. He fights back from that. Goes on loan to Fulham, and yet he still comes in. He takes his chances when given them. He tries his best. And now, mate, we seem to have stumbled across a position for Ruben that he seems to be really good at. Just him today getting forward at right wing. The guy's an athlete. The way that he runs on the ball, he's so physical. I mean, what a weapon he is. And I think this hybrid role is perfect for him. He's when we're attacking, he can slot into midfield, and then when we're defending, he kind of does that right wing back role. I mean, mate, this is perfect for him. And I don't honestly, we shouldn't be wasting any money this summer trying to sign a right wing back, because I think in Loftus-Cheek, we can get by for the season for sure on this evidence. I think every time he's played that position, going last season as well, he's dropped masterclass after masterclass. I mean, mate, you were a little bit unsure about it in the chat before, but he was class, mate. What an athlete he is as well.
He's an absolute specimen, and he clearly loves the club because he's been dying for an opportunity, and we've been dying for it as well. We backed him all the way, and we've always the one criticism we've given of Loftus-Cheek is that sometimes. Not that he doesn't take his opportunities, but perhaps we want to see more. We want to see him embrace a role.
How talented he is. That's the thing. You know how talented he is. You just always want more because there's more there.
And he's probably a bit more reserved because he doesn't want to make a huge error, because he knows that he could easily be in and out the side, because he is one of those that, he's not a first name on the team sheet sort of player. But I mean, again, we talk about all the negative things going forward, but Tuchel, in terms of creating backline, tactical, he's a tactical genius to kind of come up with this Loftus-Cheek playing in this position. I don't think anyone would have thought it, and
no one would have said it.
And I'm not overhyping it. I think that is, in terms of an overall performance, his best in a Chelsea shirt.
Mate, he was phenomenal today. Excellent. Would you agree with me? No point going to buy a right wing back now. Just get Fofana in and get an attacker in. I think we just get by with Ruben. I thought he was absolutely superb today. What would you think for a rating? 8? Yeah, 8. I think he deserves it. Yeah,
he deserves it. He was superb.
He was absolutely superb. Mate, talking to someone else, is there a bigger upgrade than going from Marcus Alonso to Marc Correa? I mean, this guy's going to be a cult hero. You can already tell the big hair, the passion on the pitch. One thing, though, how on earth in this weather is he wearing one of them undertops under his shirt?
Oh, I don't know, mate. I have not.
Mate, I've got absolutely no idea. But I mean, a debut for him today, obviously. This signing is so good I'll tell you in several ways. The fact that Chile's looking a bit rusty, still coming back from injury, this is the sort of depth that we're talking about in the squad. Last season with no Chile, we were fucked. Now, no one's thinking about Chile at all today, and that's the difference. We're having someone as good as Cucurella. It's not like, oh, this is going to stop Chilwell playing. This is elite competition at an elite football club, and that's exactly what you need. And today, this guy was superb. he was physical. He was getting up and down that pitch. Great set piece delivery. Winning tackles, fired up. I mean, I think this guy's going to be a superb signing. And people that say we've overpaid, well, I don't think we have. But at the end of the day, I don't give a fuck. He's at the bridge and he's sourcing. And mate, how impressed were you with his full debut today? Last week we done the watch along for Everton, and we were really impressed with his cameo. But today was another level up. I mean, what a player!
Just you've got to have some sort of bollocks to for your first game at home to be a London derby and to raise your level like that. You can easily cave into a shell and after a few bad touches have a really bad day at the office. Particularly how good. I mean, people could argue that Spurs have one of the best front three in the league, which isn't.
They were non-existent today.
I mean, again, Cucurella just electric going forward, so pacey, just so comfortable on the ball. And like we said, mate, you don't want complacency in the squad. You want competition with places. You want Chilwell looking over his shoulder and actually perhaps thinking, I'm not in a assured left back position anymore, which you would laugh at, possibly a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Which is what you need in a if you're going to challenge or close the gap on the two that we know about, you've got to have competition for places and at the back. I mean, like you said, mate, I've got absolutely no qualms at the back for this season and for future years. It's outstanding what Tuchel has done with the players. Not just recruitment, but how he's dealt with the existing players, and he was superb at the debut today. You don't get better debuts than that.
Mate, I absolutely loved watching him. I really loved it. I mean, mate, rating-wise, what do you think? Obviously, we're giving Reece James an 8.5. I think Cucurella was superb. I mean, was he better than Ruben? I don't know.
I would say a little bit more just because it's a debut. I'd probably give him a little bit of it. Yeah.
Mate, we need to give Reece James a 9 then, if we're going 8.5 for Cucurella.
Fair.
9 Reece James. I think that's fair. Right, mate, let's move into midfield then. Mate, do you know what, right? We'll come on to his injury in a sec, but this was the Kante of old. He was actually phenomenal today.
Yeah.
He was so good. But, mate, how disappointing is it, though, that once again he's picked up an injury? It looks like a muscle. It looks like a hamstring's pinned. That's going to be a few weeks. I mean, that's a disaster, isn't it, really? It's so frustrating because, again, top performance. Everyone's played really well. Kante looking back to his best and is injured again. I mean, first of all, mate, just a word on his performance before we get into the injury. But, I mean, how good was he today? I thought he was superb.
We deserve it because we started to slag him off a little bit and saying that, he's a bit...
I think rightly so.
Yeah, I mean, criticism where it's...
To an extent.
But then those types of performances is exactly why he's irreplaceable, isn't he? I mean, you wouldn't have thought that you could get a better Makelele when Makelele left, and he's a Makelele and some.
He's a Makelele on steroids, mate.
He is literally he improves any team in the world. So
on his day, for sure.
Yeah, and today just again breaking up play, his energy to his running back to recycle the ball, his just getting a foot on everything, his energy going forward today was impressive. I mean, he was taking some shots on. He obviously he was this kind of assist before the assist for the Reece James goal. Just phenomenal. And again, watching it on the telly and I saw him go down, I thought initially it was a foul, and then when I saw it, he pulled out. I was just like, oh god,
mate, how big a problem is this now? Because we got two of probably our two best midfield players in Kante and Kovacic, who are both just made of glass. I mean, this De Jong signing now has become even more important, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think
we need another midfield player. We have to, because these guys, you cannot rely on Kante and Kovacic for a whole season because they're always injured.
Well, Kovacic is a weird one because I don't know why he gets injured so much. Kante, there were a lot of people saying.
Yeah, but for Kante, though, for Kante, this is only a recent thing, though. Like in the last season or two.
Yeah, but they're claiming
he's never been injury prone.
No, but they're claiming burnout, which I think is it's almost like the beginning of the end. He's been at such an intense level for so long in that position that I feel like just seeing him on the ground now, I just feel like he is running out of steam as a player. And, once he loses that, it's very hard to recover, particularly at his age. So I think we are seeing the beginning of the end, but we'll still squeeze every ounce of decent performances from him. And we will get a few like that again. But it's just such a shame because he's irreplaceable, mate. We're going to have to change, the way we play when he leaves. But Kovacic, I just don't get, because he should be, should be in his prime. He should be ready to go, and for whatever reason, he's just not. But yeah, it's a shame for Kante, and we're going to have to adapt. But
Mate, sorry to interrupt you guys. We've just got a bit of breaking transfer news. I can't. I'm not going to bring it up on the screen. I'll just read it out because we'll have to cancel that screen. But George, this has taken me by surprise a little bit. Breaking news: 15 minutes ago, Chelsea are interested in signing Everton forward Anthony Gordon. One source says that they've already made a bid of £40 million. I mean, what are your thoughts on that, mate? That's taken me by surprise. I mean, guys in the chat, guys, by the way, George, whilst you're composing yourself there, mate, for your thoughts, guys in the chat, over 70 of us in here now, let us know your thoughts on the Anthony Gordon links that have just come out in the last 15, 20 minutes or so. And please do smash the likes and subscribe to the channel as well whilst you're at it. But George, Anthony Taylor, not Anthony Taylor, sorry, bloody hell. We're not
I don't want him at the club.
Me, no. And Anthony Gordon, mate, Everton forward. How surprised you at that news? That's really surprised me.
It alarms me, mate, who's making the decisions at the football club. I know we're in a bit of a panic.
You've got two opposite ends of the spectrum, Aubameyang and then Gordon.
Yeah, it must. The only thing I can think of is that obviously they must know that the Aubameyang deal is becoming too hard to solve, and we have to get something through the door. So I think it's a bit of panic. Neville said it's a bit of a scattergun. Why? Again, listening to Rory. I think it's Rory Jennings.
Oh, mate, he's got some ridiculous opinions.
No, he does, but he also says a lot of decent things. And I think one of the things he did say is, how on earth, yes, Todd Bowley has every right to, with the money he's put in to do it. And I'm not, he has brought in some fantastic players, but to give himself the kind of the role of is he being given the director of football? He's
kind of, yeah. I mean, Gordon's he's a good young talent, but George, he doesn't.
Oh, come on. No,
he doesn't move the needle for Chelsea straight away, does he?
No, this is a panic. This is a panic from Chelsea, because they know that if we don't get something through the door, fans will be up in arms. Tuchel will be up in arms, saying he didn't get what he was promised. Running out of options. The ones we wanted, we couldn't get, like Gabriel Jesus. The ones that we probably want to get, they're a bit better. It's going to take more and too long, perhaps. Now the window's getting shorter. I think that's crazy, absolute crazy.
It's an odd one. That it really is. I mean, guys in the chat, let us know your thoughts on Anthony Gordon. I mean, let me just get to a few things. From Lee, it'll be interesting to see Chilwell's response. It will be interesting to see how Chile responds. Hopefully, that will help him raise his game as well. Gordon is a really good talent. Yeah, I think Gordon is a good talent, but I'm not sure we need another good young player. We need someone a little bit more established, which is why, for me, Aubameyang makes a lot more sense than Gordon would. And plus, I don't know, would Everton really sell another one of their best forward players after losing Richarlison? I'm not sure. Seriously, poor officiating? Yep. Just ban Taylor? Yep.
Yeah,
a lot of Anthony Taylor hate coming in. Anthony Taylor, Chelsea enemy? Yep. Only Barkley, but if they want some of our players, Cho/Ziyech could. I mean, Callum could go on loan to Everton, maybe. I don't think Ziyech would want to go there. Ross Barkley, just anyone take him. Let's just get rid of him. Terminate his contract. What's this? Tottenham versus Chelsea game. From now on, display the text like this: England, Korea. I don't really understand that. I'm not really sure what that means. England and Korea. I don't get that. Anyway, mate. Sorry. Back to N'Golo Kante. We'll come back to that at the end. Kante, mate. Obviously picked the injury up. I think a 7.5. I thought he was really good today. Mate. Sorry, just briefly, mate. Now that Kante's injured and given Kovacic's injury record as well, do you think this makes the Young deal even more essential now?
Yeah, I've said it. I don't know how many times I said it on the channel, but I think that's almost more important than a striker at this point, because you see that Sterling and stuff can get the goals if they're presented with the opportunities, and now we've got those injuries. You need someone who can do the eye of the needle pass, and just bring the ball forward, be a bit more forward, think a bit more creative, and we desperately need someone like that. Again, I don't think it's Thomas Tuchel's priority. I think Fofana's pretty much over the line if they just agree a fee. So we're really looking at a striker or a 10. And I don't know, mate. I mean, if that Gordon thing's got any substance to it, but it looks.
I think it does, mate. It's being reported by some major outlets now.
So I think Chelsea is struggling to find a suitable forward. So, I mean, we do need someone more creative in there. There's no doubt about it for me. But then again, we did score 2 today. People were pessimistic saying that we struggled to score one. Even I was saying, look,
Yeah.
we might struggle to get a goal today because it's the same old Chelsea, but we did create enough chances to win 3 or 4-0 today. So
yeah,
I don't know, but yeah,
it's an interesting one, that, isn't it?
but Gallagher could step up. We've got a few players in there that could do it.
Yeah, but I still think we still need. I think we need another senior midfield player.
Yeah,
I
agree. I agree.
Mate, moving on to Jorginho. Let's rattle through these, mate. Jorginho.
Yeah.
Obviously, I thought he had a really good game today. Obviously, a little bit sloppy in the first 5 minutes, but he controlled the tempo of the game so well from midfield. Had a really, really good game, but kind of just undid his work by that stupidity in the box, and he was subbed off shortly after that. I mean, do you think that kind of soured his performance a bit, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's the only thing I can remember after all the great work was undone by just a moment of idiocy. So I can't give him higher than a 7. I know that sounds harsh.
I think it might take it. I think he was a 7 point. I think he was probably a 6.5 maybe. I just think that mistake's just so criminal.
So harsh, but it's it's those fine margins. And if you're going to make a mistake that actually costs a goal, you can't really get a high rating. I'm sorry. I know.
No, he was good today though. He was really good. Mate, let's move on to the front three, mate. I want to see Mason Mount in this position more.
Yes.
I thought it was really, really good in that slightly deeper role, playing just behind Havertz and Sterling. And obviously they were interchanging. He filled in as a false 9 for a little bit as well. Mate, how impressed were you with Mount today? Despite the fact that there wasn't that much attacking output as such, he put in a lot of work in that sort of 10 role and filling in as a third man in midfield. That really made us dominate that midfield battle. I mean, is this a role you want to see him in more? I think this is a lot more suited naturally to his game.
Yeah. He needs to be in that role, and you could see it today. I think the pressure just needs to come off Mount a little bit. I know people were expecting more, but the expectations are just too high. I think he's young, and he offers so much for Chelsea. He does a lot of stuff that people don't see. Yeah, okay, could score more goals, could shoot more outside the box, whatever. But he look, we all know he's one of our best players in the squad, and we need him. So let's not criticise him. Let's almost give him the free reins to play that role, and he'll relish in a role there. I really do believe that.
Yeah, no, I think he will as well, mate. I was really impressed with him, and you're right, mate. I think he does need to have a little bit of the pressure taken off him, because for so long Chelsea have always looked for Mount to do something, and if it doesn't happen, then we don't play well. And I think now, sort of having him in that role is much more suited to his game naturally. Lee, the VAR ref today was Mike Dean, so that's all you need to know, mate. And yeah, mate, rating for Mount then. I thought it was really good, mate. I know he missed a half decent opportunity. What do you think, mate? It's a 7. I think he was maybe a 7.5.
Yeah, I was going to say 7.5. I think there was room for improvement. But I think he did do very well today, and I want to see more of him in that role.
Let's move on to Raheem Sterling, mate. Very briefly though, in the first half, I couldn't understand the tactics. Why, when Sterling's playing through the middle, do we consistently just put balls into the box like he's like a big centre forward that's going to win loads of stuff in the air? I just wasn't understanding that at all. I mean, I think it was me, you, and a few others in our group chat as well, not understanding it. Why do we put balls into the box when we've got such a small person up there? I just couldn't work it out. I mean, you got any idea what was going on there?
No, other than maybe just early doors, test them, see what they can deal with. Maybe the second phase where do they clear it? Win that second ball, it can ping anywhere. But no, I don't understand it, mate. I mean, look, and I said it in our group as well. I think Sterling's always going to have a problem. People are expecting, we need the City Sterling to it's going to be harder for him at Chelsea just because of the
not the supply line.
Yeah, and not today. We actually
different
played
system
very
as well.
tempo. Different system, different tempo than City. Different players in behind. It's a total, even the pitch, it's very tight. It's very, you see it. It's just not the same fluidity as City. So he's not going to get as many chances, but he was in and around. He changed from left to right. He went to the middle. Some of the little touches in behind. The little,
nice assist as well.
Yeah, and there was a little kind of back heel roll that he did into Havertz, which should have been finished as well in the first half. I mean, it just has that extra little bit of magic and creativity that we need up there, where he just sees things a little bit quicker than most players that we've had before. So there's plenty more to come from Raheem Sterling, and he should have probably got a goal as well today. So I think he played well, mate.
I think he was. I think a 7's probably fair. I don't think he was quite as good as Mount today, but I think a 7's fair.
Yeah. More to come.
Let's go to Kai Havertz now to round it off. I mean, we've been very critical of Kai Havertz on this channel. I think rightly so. What did you make of him today? I mean, obviously missed an absolute sitter, but in terms of kind of his physicality and like his work rate and his effort, I thought he was pretty good today. apart from he didn't do the one thing that he's really on the pitch to do, which is really frustrating. What did you make of Kai? I mean, it was better than Everton, but it's still the same like frustrating thing. You just expect so much more.
I mean, we could. Question is, what do I see in Kai Havertz? I mean, how long have you got? It's
ridiculous. Isn't it?
We all said in our little private chat, we don't know what he is. We don't know, what he's average at a lot of things, but he's not outstanding at anything, and that's the problem. He's got to take the opportunity when he got that one. Like I said at the top of the show, love the intensity, love the fact that he embraced the kind of London derby, got physical, toe to toe with I think it was, I can't remember who it was, who he was having a little argy-bargy with for a brief moment. I don't know what he is, and I still think it was a mistake from Tuchel to play him when he had such a bad game. I understand that we don't really have any other options.
He was never going to play Brozier. I mean, as much as we wanted it,
I know.
was never going to start this game.
I know, and to be honest, I'm probably wrong because when Pulisic came on, he did fuck all either. So I wanted Pulisic, Mount, and Sterling. So I get it, I do get it, but it's just I don't think he plays if we have say Aubameyang in the side. I was probably being a bit too critical too early in the game. But then, you look at the 2-2, and despite all the shit that went on from Anthony Taylor, he still had an absolute golden opportunity and fucked it. I mean, he didn't even hit the target from about 6 yards out.
It's honestly, mate, it's inexcusable at that level. It really is inexcusable at this level.
I give him a
6.5?
6 or 6.5. Yeah,
I think it's 6. Give him a 6.5. But mate, I mean, some really promising performances today. Really promising from a lot of the players, but just undone by ridiculous officiating. But I think a really, really promising, something to take forward to Leeds next weekend, which is going to be another really tough derby. It's a bit of a derby, I suppose, or it's a heated rivalry from back in the 70s and whatnot. That's going to be a tough place to go. But there's definitely lots of promise to build on from here. But George, moving on from this, and obviously there's going to be repercussions coming in the week. Tuchel, not sure he's going to be in charge on the touchline for the Leeds game. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of fines handed out from the FA and the various authorities, to Conte, Tuchel, and maybe various stuff from the benches. But George, how important now is this week ahead for the club that we actually get some transfer business done? I mean, really, before the Leeds game, mate, I think we need one of Fofana, De Jong, or a forward done, if not two. It's getting to a critical situation now. We need this week. Someone's got to come in, hasn't it?
Yeah, because again, despite all the great work we did today, and I'm sure Tuchel's message to the players would have been, keep your head up because you were outstanding today. And he even said that in his press conference, said we were excellent, and we were. But the bottom line is we still didn't win the game of football, and we did miss a forward again today. I mean, we are I agree with what Lee said in the chat. I think we are a striker short of completing the puzzle, and we thought that. Do you think
Aubameyang, mate? Do you think Aubameyang would be the missing piece then, mate? It's a short-term fix. But do you think he makes a difference? I think we need him. I
think he does. I think he's a proven goal scorer, and I know we've been down this road before, but I think he takes one of those chances today. I really do.
I think it's risk-free. It's risk-free, mate.
It's risk-free.
In terms of it's a low fee. Barca want about 15-20 million pounds for him. It'll probably be a 2-year contract. He knows the league. I think it's almost a no-brainer. I don't think there's hardly any downsides to it.
No, it's a no-brainer, and there's no pressure because we've had the shit of Lukaku, which went terribly wrong. We've got no one at the club who can score, so really, there's no pressure on it. If he does great, amazing. If he doesn't, we ship him on, and we at least tried to upgrade what we have already. So, what's the harm in trying to? I mean, we have to get someone in. We really do. I mean, today everything was excellent, bar the killing the game. And how do we kill the game? We score goals. How do we score goals? From the forward line, and we need it desperately. So hopefully we can get that over the line.
Yeah, mate. Who would you like to see most come in? Do you think out of like Fofana, Aubameyang, and De Jong? I mean, out of those three, if you could pick one to come in next week, who you take it?
That's tough.
What do you think we're most desperately in need for? I probably say we're most desperate for a midfield player or a forward. I love Fofana to come in, but I'm almost at the point now where I actually think it's slightly more important we get a midfielder or a forward in.
I think Fofana just adds to the class we already got. I'm not worried about that. So if Fofana didn't happen for whatever reason, that's again, I don't mind that. I think you're right. I can't really go against what I said about having that creative player behind them. That's the problem. But for me, it looks fairly obvious that the priority is a forward. And so if we don't get one in, you just look at today, the complete performance other than someone sticking the ball in the net, to kill the game up front. So I think from Chelsea perspective, it's a forward. For me, it's De Jong, but we'll see.
Mate, just to round out this Anthony Gordon thing, I still can't get my head around it. I'm not saying he's crap. He's got a lot of potential. He's done okay at Everton, but he's a young player. He's rough. He's not polished. Yeah. And he's just another player that's similar to what we've already got. He's not a goal scorer. It's not really what we need. Do you understand what Chelsea are doing here if we push further ahead with this? I can't really get my head around it.
Well, the only thing I can think of is because obviously Frank's got a lot of injuries at the moment. So I don't think they'd be one of our players to boost their forward line because clearly Gordon's not good enough.
Gordon's not good enough to improve that our forward. Is he?
Chelsea Gordon for 40 million. It sounds a bit outrageous to me.
Mate, Gordon doesn't improve the front line, does he? I just don't get it. I don't understand the pursuit of it at all.
No, it doesn't improve it. He's a good young talent, but
it doesn't improve it. I just don't get it. I mean, if it's a toss up between Aubameyang or Gordon, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Like it's an absolute no-brainer.
But we don't know. We don't know.
We don't know. I mean, that seems like a good point to round out, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in as always. Thanks for getting involved in the chat. Really appreciate it, guys. Still 60 of you here, by the way. So if you haven't smashed the likes, let's get those likes up. Smash that like button. Please click the subscribe button as well. Subscribe to the channel. There's plenty more content coming next week and throughout the season. So we'd really appreciate it. If you're not subscribed, please click that subscribe button. And yeah, George, ultimately, despite a really good performance, a disappointing result for the Blues today and work to be done. We need to get back to winning ways next weekend away at Leeds. And it's a big week in the transfer market as well. We need to get one or two of these deals across the line. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. George, thanks for your time as always, mate. As always, keep the faith, up the Chelsea, and we'll be back in the next couple of days with some more news. Until then, guys, take care and enjoy your weekend. And please do smash the like and subscribe button on your way out. Peace.